Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Our guest today is somebody a lot of you know, not just from bodybuilding, but you've seen him on TV more than once, I'm sure, whether you knew it or not. This is IFBB professional bodybuilder, actor, fitness model, all the above, Brad Rowe. Thanks for joining us, Brad.
How you doing, Ron? Thank you very much for having me online.
Appreciate you doing this on short notice and just a week away from the Ferrigno Legacy where you will be competing.
Yes, sir.
So, I kind of know you, but I don't know a lot about you, and I want to make sure everyone knows the whole story. So let's go back to the beginning. Where do we begin our story? New Hampshire?
Yes, born and raised in New Hampshire. I was an athlete growing up. Didn't really know anything about bodybuilding, admittedly. I was a gym rat. Played football in college, majored in biology, went on to grad school, biomedical science, planned on going to medical school. Took a year off after grad school to work to afford to apply to medical school, because if people don't know, it's like $5,000 or $6,000
to apply.
Just to even get applications out.
Goodness.
So raised by a single mom who worked in a factory, money wasn't of the abundance. So I worked for everything I had, and during that time off, Ed Connors and Adam Silver of Silver Models had contacted me on MySpace. MySpace. This is how far we're dated back.
Wow. Okay.
I thought Ed was just some creep, so I totally ignored him.
Yeah.
And and then Adam Silver asked me if I wanted to do fitness modeling. I said I have no interest in chasing some stupid dream, but if you can book me work and it pays money, let's do it.
Now, had you competed before this?
No. At that point, no. Just a gym rat. I love the weights, played basketball and pick up games, and that was it.
Oh, I think you said, I saw in another interview that they saw a picture of you as the Ultimate Warrior for Halloween. That's where they saw you had this physique and the look?
Yep. My senior year in college, I dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior for Halloween, and that was my MySpace profile pic, so that's where they saw my physique. So long story short, Adam ended up booking me a muscle and fitness shoot within like 2 days.
Wow.
And then another 2 days after that, he booked me for a GNC 5-year ad campaign.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, within a month and a half, my banners are hanging off the ceilings at the Arnold Classic for the GNC booth.
And you had still not even stepped on a stage at that point?
No. Wow. So that was, it was kind of unique. And so things kind of perpetuated from there. I ended up moving to New York to kind of pursue the modeling and acting type of thing a little more. And I went down for one of my photo shoots and had to take a shit. So I was in Adam's apartment, and I go in and I take a shit, and I come out and I'm like, look at this. I'm like, look at this weird thing I can do with my stomach. So I hit a vacuum. I didn't even know what a fucking vacuum was at the time. Yeah. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I know this company that, they're looking for this throwback, like 70s style theme. Let me take a picture and send it to you. Send it to them. So he takes a picture of me hitting a vacuum, sends it to Universal, and within a month, I signed a paying contract with Universal as an athlete, and stepped on stage for the first time 2 weeks later.
So why did you even bother competing? Because this is all the stuff that competitors aspire to, and you're doing it without competing.
He just said that stepping on stage was going to give me more exposure and open more doors up, for things like sponsorships and stuff like that. And Universal, they wanted a competitive bodybuilder, so that was kind of the whole deal of me actually stepping on stage. And then right around that same time, I was in New York for a photo shoot and ended up going on an audition for a commercial, and ended up booking a CarMax commercial. And so that was my first big national spot. And right around then is when I finally realized who Ed Connors actually was.
Yeah.
And probably in August of that year, Ed started reaching out to me and asked me to come to California. So he flew me out to California that December. I did the Excalibur, where I won there, and got to tour Venice and see California. And he said that this is the place I needed to be. Now I saw Evan's question of why did I move to California?
Right.
Because back in the day, that was the place to be. This day and age, things are different. I mean, we're still talking 2010, 2011. Yeah. Social media wasn't big back then. Instagram had just come out. Literally, it just launched. And magazines, they kind of were on the fringe of stopping to fly athletes out for photo shoots because it was costing them too much money. At the same time, Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness still had their headquarters in Woodland Hills in California.
Right.
So if you wanted to be seen and you wanted to do shoots, you needed to be in Venice. So I packed up everything that I had, a couple suitcases worth of clothes, and got a one-way flight out to California. Stayed in a hotel room for 2 weeks. I had a kid an acquaintance that I knew from friends in Myrtle Beach of mine that was trying to move to California as well. So we thought we could roommate up. He ended up becoming a drug addict, and I ended up supporting him he was a drug addict, was trying to come sober, couldn't get a job. So I supported him for the first 5 months here, and racked up a ton of bills. He had 2 motorcycles. That was the only way I got out of it. He had to turn their motorcycles over to me.
Wow.
So that, and things were really slow. The start was kind of shitty. And then thankfully, I had known Jose Raymond before I'd come out, just running into him in local shows and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I met his brother Tito when I was out here. People don't know, Tito is 10 times better athlete than Jose ever thought of me. And a lot prettier. And he'll tell everybody that. But Tito was great to me, and Tito hooked me up with one of his big clients who was looking for someone just to pretty much babysit him on the weekends. An old guy that couldn't stick to his diet, ate like shit, was diabetic, wanted someone to come out to his house in Malibu and just train him, cook for him, hang out with him. So Tito set me up with that job, and it was a cake job. I'd go to Hawaii every couple months,
Nice.
travel with him and his family. I trained his son, so I cooked meals for him in his office, and he's still one of my big clients. So that was kind of my big break and kind of what kept my feet from underneath me, without having to crawl back to New Hampshire with my tail between my legs. Out here, I was fortunate enough to continue with the acting thing and chase my pro card down living out in California. So that's the fast version.
So you've been out there since 2010?
2011.
2011, wow.
2011 I moved out, yeah.
Now, do you miss the cold, the snow, the ice?
I do. I really do. I'm weird. My wife fight about this all the time. We actually considered moving back. She's born and raised in LA.
Yeah.
So she's never had to deal with the winter in her life. She's like, well, you go to snow. Snow doesn't come there.
Yeah.
But the cost of living out here is absolutely ridiculous. And we were at a point where we had to be out of the house that we're renting right now. And we have 3 dogs. And in order to find anything comparable, we're looking at like $5,500 a month in rent, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
So we were kind of weighing pros and cons whether or not we wanted to move back. And I want to be back there. We're shooting for kids in the next year or 2. And I figure by the time my kids are like 4 or 5, it's time to go back east. I think it's just a different mentality. I think having to wake up every day and shovel your car out and de-ice your handles and your windshield just so you can go to school or go to work, I think it's a character building thing, I think people that are born in the Midwest and Northeast and New England are a hell of a lot fucking tougher than people out here in Southern California that don't know what it's like to be below 50 degrees. So I definitely am going to move back. I miss the seasons. Winter, Christmas sucks when it's 70 degrees and you got palm trees in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it's funny because Jose has actually said the exact same thing about shoveling your car out. And, it might take us 2 or 3 hours to get our car ready to get on the road to go to the gym. If you're lucky, your gym is open. Maybe your gym is snowed in. But you are in a new house right now. Are you renovating a house to live in right there? So you're not coming back here anytime soon?
Possibly. Like I said, 4 or 5 years. Okay. So we just purchased a house. Things happen. Literally, I went from, we were kind of on a 2 to 3 year plan to potentially buy a house to realizing that buying a house was in our grasp to going into escrow within 10 days.
Wow.
It was like that. I thought that jumbo mortgages out here were still in the 440, 450 range. Those you don't know, you can qualify for first-time homebuyers programs with 3.5% down, but each area has its own limit to what that mortgage can be. And out here in California, it's actually $660,000, which is the upper limit. So, so we thought we could qualify for first-time homebuyers program and live, not in Venice, but I'm 10 miles door to door from Gold's Gym. It's in an up-and-coming neighborhood right in Inglewood, 2 miles door to door from where the new stadium, the Rams stadium, is going in. So property values are going to go through the roof. We're looking at probably a 30 or 40% increase in property value over the next 4 years for us. So it's a great investment. You deal with an up and coming neighborhood. You know, there's houses that are shitty, there's neighborhoods that are shitty, but on our street alone, there's already 6 houses right now that are in the process of getting fully remodeled. So we bought a flip. It was 100% bare bones remodel. They tore it down to the frame and rebuilt a whole new house around it. So it's literally like buying a brand new home. And my wife didn't like the kitchen, and I was a contractor. That's what I did. Before I got into all this, I was framing houses and doing remodeling with my uncle from age 13 to 26 before I moved out here. So I decided, let's buy this house, let's make a bunch of changes to it, and at the same exact time, I'm going to fucking throw my hat into the frig now.
So
social media.
So you're doing all that. You're renovating a house and all this to move into while you're in contest prep. Yeah.
So for the past 3.5 weeks is when I finally decided to do the contest. I was already in good shape, so I did some photo shoots for the Olympia and right after the Olympia. I stay in decent shape year round, so we decided to just kind of lock it down and jump in the Frigno. And truly just for social media purposes, honestly. I have no aspirations of placing well. I mean, obviously I'm going to do my best to bring my best package. I'm a conditioning guy, so I'm going to bring my conditioning. But it was more or less we're getting video content of us doing remodeling in the house, me doing, trim work, demo work, everything, and just kind of playing to that blue collar, demographic out there that, you can do all this stuff. Jose, I know, just remodeled his house or has been in the process of doing it. So, there's a lot of lazy bodybuilders out there that can't get off the fucking couch every day and think that you need to live this lifestyle, in order to be successful. And I just want to prove that, I'm waking up at 2:30 in the morning, clean my house. We got 3 dogs, 2 of them are puppies. So I take them on a 45-minute walk. I go do my cardio. I shower at the gym. I train 2 clients. I'm at the house by 8:30. I'm working plus helping out other contractors that are there doing stuff like plumbing, electric, which I can't do. And then I'm back to the gym to train at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I usually have a 4 or 5 o'clock client each night. So, I'm juggling a ton of things right now and just showing that you can get it done. So that was kind of the whole purpose behind this. Early in the year when I wasn't going to compete, I felt lost, truly. I'm one of those people, I need to compete. I'm not going to be an elite athlete, but for me, I like the process of competing. I like getting on stage, the marketing that comes along with it. So by taking this whole year off, I just kind of felt lonely and lost, and I feel like I wasn't being productive at all. So I figured I'd make up for it the last 4 weeks of the year by throwing all this on my plate.
You make it sound like you don't do well in these shows, but 2014 Ferrigno Legacy, 2nd place. Phoenix Pro, 3rd place. 2015 California Pro, 3rd place behind the late Dallas McCarver and Firas Saeed. So, I mean, you've done pretty well at a few shows. It's not like you're a slouch. I know people like to people rag on everybody. They rag on Phil Heath, for God's sake. But, I mean, you're a decent bodybuilder, for God's sake.
Right. I mean, I'm a realist, and realistically, those shows weren't that busy. They didn't have a lot of big name guys in it.
Yeah.
And, a lot more competitors are stepping into these shows. Like the Ferrigno is going to be slammed. You got Cedric, you got Brandon Curry, you have Manuel Ramiro, you have Jose doing it. Josh Wade, who's done well this year. There's An Nguyen, who has hooked up with John Meadows, and if An actually shows up in shape, should fucking whip my ass day in and day out, but he doesn't come in shape. Yeah. So there's guys, I'm a realist in the sport. I know where my flaws are, I know where my strengths are, and I'm not going to try to become something I'm not. Everybody tells me I need to put on mass, but what's mass going to do for me? It's going to make me look even blockier. I'm going to look like shit. I'm going to lose my lines, the little lines I have, and it's going to hurt me in the marketing and commercial world. So, I'm happy with stepping on stage, 235, 240, coming in shredded, and just, try to improve a little bit by shape and roundness each year, and just putting myself out there.
Yeah. I mean, you also, the fact that you have to stay in shape all the time, some people would see that as a hindrance because you don't really have an off season in the traditional sense. I've never, I check out your Instagram every once in a while, you're always in shape. I'm not contest conditioning exactly, but you're not ever very far from that. Are you on like a strict contest diet pretty much year round?
You know what? I have a pretty fast metabolism. I can get in the worst shape that I ever get in the past few years it'll probably take me 6 weeks to get in true contest shape, if I really buckle down. Like this year, this prep up until the last couple weeks has been the easiest thing ever. I was getting ready for photo shoots, so I wasn't really stressed out about being super strict. So if I had a bunch of cheese and shit like that at night, I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm just getting ready for a photo shoot. And then next thing I know, I'm at like a 3-week out conditioning mark, and I'm like, well, this was easy. So obviously it's a hindrance for actual progress, putting on size and mass, which we already touched base upon, is not really, the most important thing to me in life. I enjoy the foods I eat. Obviously, if you see my Instagram, I love my cheat meals. So I still get 2 or 3 cheat meals a week. I like to do cardio. For me, actually doing cardio in the morning fasted is kind of my office hours. Yeah. I respond to a bunch of emails and shit that I don't really get to throughout the day. So it's busy work for me, and it's just, I like routine. I'm very regimented. So, doing cardio and sticking to a reasonably strict diet is just second hat to me.
Okay. I mean, you also you played ball all the way through college, right? Football?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're an actual athlete, not like a lot of us meatheads like to think we're athletes, but we're not really athletes. We're just guys who lift weights to get big, or not necessarily any athletic talent or bone in our bodies. But I saw something interesting maybe 6 months ago or so, that where you were trying to regain some more of a like athletic ability or agility in your training. Was that a short-lived thing, or are you still doing that?
It kind of goes in and out in phases. It depends on truly time of things. At least every year when I finish contest season, I usually spend about 3 months of backing off my training and everything like that. And that's when I really focus on getting back on the basketball court, shooting around, focus on my stretching, more dynamic style training, sprints, lateral agility work, and things like that. And I find, obviously I'm getting older, and even, I still walk around 250, 260, which is, a lot of weight for a guy like that. And, so my knees and feet get kind of banged up by running and jumping a lot, but it's something that I don't ever want to lose. And again, next year, once this show's over, it's something that I want to kind of put an emphasis on again, and get back into running and jumping and trying to be more dynamic of an athlete.
When you go on auditions and so forth, I mean, you're big enough so that you're going to be typecast as the big bodybuilder guy. Has anyone ever tried to convince you to slim down and go where you could be, up for more roles, more parts?
That's kind of the dilemma that I've hit as of late, especially this year. This year's been dead for bodybuilding typecasting. I've been on maybe 2 national commercial auditions all year. So whereas in previous years, I've booked at least 3 national commercials a year at minimum. So this year's been absolutely dead, and it's not just me. It's everybody across the board, all the bodybuilders at the gym. No one's been out on anything. Social media has really changed the way that things work in the advertising world, with the political issues, the way things are going. People are afraid to run certain commercials that could be, geared towards any type of agenda either way. And we're a nation of what's next. Back in the day, you used to have a commercial and it would run for a year and a half.
Right.
And you'd make $50,000-$60,000 off that. Now it's like you get a commercial and they run it for 2 weeks and people are bored with it. They want constant turnover. So advertisers aren't spending as much money anymore. They're putting things on social media, Instagram and YouTube, and the payouts are much less for that. You're getting like a $2,000 buyout for things like that. So really the commercial world's been hurt a lot. And I'm gonna drop some weight eventually. I'm gonna get bodybuilding a couple more years, just to kind of really just build my brand, and I love it. It's not like I'm doing it as a labor. It's something that I truly love and I enjoy. And if I'm able to make money and market myself properly, then I'm going to continue along that path. But I do see a point in the future where losing 30 pounds or so is going to open up a lot more doors in the acting world for me. But just. I'm one of those people, if things are happening in the direction that you're going in, why change something completely just to chase something that you're not in love with? Like, I'm not in love with acting. It's not a dream of mine. I don't want to be fucking famous. I want money. I don't want to be like The Rock or John Cena or any of those guys. You can't go anywhere. You have no life. You know,
Yeah.
I'd rather live a good middle class life, provide for my family, and be somewhat normal rather than be some celebrity superstar.
Okay. So we'll get into more bodybuilding stuff, but I'm fascinated by the commercial work because that reaches so many more people, obviously. So what are some of the commercials that you think people would be most familiar with seeing you in?
The latest one really was big was the Dollar Shave Club commercial where I'm walking through the aisles and I bump through a couple and I grab a thing of soap and I squeeze it and break it and rip my shirt off and start flexing and screaming at them. You know, that played into the whole douchebag bodybuilding stereotype.
Yeah.
So that was a really popular one. The GoDaddy commercial where there was a bunch of us bodybuilders running through the streets of Long Beach. That was a big one. I did a Dan and Okios commercial with John Stamos. So that was a pretty big one and a big payout. One that people might not have recognized me in, but played a shit ton.
Yeah.
I was in a Coke countdown to Coke Zero or countdown to game day commercial for Coke Zero. So all during college football in 2015, on the 5th day before college football and on the day of college football, my commercial played nonstop. I was doing bench press with a Navy shirt on, and so that played a ton, and I got paid out like crazy with that.
Right on.
So those are some of the bigger ones.
That's the Geico commercial where the guy's doing curls and every time they show him he's bigger?
Yeah, that's Luca Penzazona.
Okay, that's not you. I was going to say that the midsection looked a little big for you.
Yeah, that's Luca, and he actually that sucks because that commercial plays a shit ton, and it started playing again.
Yeah.
But he got a buyout. It was only like $1,000 buyout because they just use it. There's no face.
Right.
So it's all about the face. It's all about face recognition that you get paid for.
So have you done any TV roles or movie roles?
I did a TV show for Disney. It's a reality show called Walk the Prank. They haven't aired the episode yet. I filmed it in like June or July, and they still haven't put it out yet. But that's going to be pretty hilarious.
Okay.
I did just did a couple of small like Sundance film movie things. You know, they'll be decent, but they're just really small roles. So just kind of getting what I can, and I turn a lot of stuff down. If it's not going to pay a decent amount of money,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to it because I got to cancel clients and everything else. And I'm one of those people who, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't continue to keep canceling on clients all the time just to chase a $500 payday for a commercial. You know, so I have a if I don't make at least $2,500 clause in my thing, they won't send me on anything.
So what about reality TV? Have any shows like Big Brother or any of those come looking for you?
You know, when I first moved out here, I auditioned for Big Brother, and I actually got picked to do it. And they don't pay anything. They pay you, it's like $113 a week. You know, here I am with a car and an apartment, living by myself, and I'm like, I have to get rid of everything for 3 months of my life.
Wow.
In hopes of chasing this. And one of my clients at the time, she was a director and worked mostly in the reality TV world. And she's like, honey, she's like, you're the sweetest guy in the world, but no matter what, they're going to make you look like the asshole. She's like, it's just not worth it for you. She's like, they're going to edit things and flip things around. She's like, trust me, I know what they're looking for. She's like, so I don't advise you doing that. So I passed up on that. And that was in 2012. And I was trying to get ready for North American. So it was just like, you know, which direction I go. If you guys saw, a few of us did the ballet thing for Lonnie Teeper's West Coast Classic. Oksana had put us through a whole ballet thing. And we got invited to America's Got Talent. So in March, they start auditions for America's Got Talent. We got an invite for that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And Sergio Olivia Jr. and I got contacted by people of another reality TV show, which we can't really talk about too much, but we're waiting to hear back to see if they're going to select us. They want to do a bodybuilding themed one, and that should be pretty interesting.
Interesting. That is very interesting. That would be pretty cool. So, you know, you haven't competed a lot as a pro. I mean, do you ever get the urge to jump into shows just because you're in shape all the time, and it wouldn't be that difficult, really?
Oh, I've done. How many shows have I done?
You actually
12.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've done more than I thought.
yeah. My rookie year, I did 8 shows in one calendar year
Good Lord. Okay.
in order to qualify for the Olympia, and so I made it. I made it to the Olympia, so I can hang up the trunks on any day and have made it a lot further than most other guys ever would have. But next year I'm going to compete a lot more. You'll see me on stage, at least 6 times. I don't know why I didn't. I work with Matt Jansen, and Matt, I love Matt, but Matt is all about trying to make people better.
Right.
And me and him constantly butt heads on what direction I want to take my physique. When I tell him, by the way, Matt, I don't want to get bigger. I want to be lean year round.
Yeah.
I want to try. I'm one of those people, I prep coaches, I prep athletes myself, and I'm a firm believer in experimenting certain things on myself as far as diet-wise and things like that. Like I'm a firm believer in intermittent fasting. I think periods of ketogenic diets are I'm very health orientated. And there's all these things that I want to try on myself, and I tell him, and he's like, but I'm like, Matt, I'll write a disclaimer. I'm working with Matt, but I'm doing my own thing. So if there is no progress, don't lay the blame on Matt. This is all on me, and and things I want to try myself.
Right.
So, we took this year to kind of try to change the shape of my physique a little bit more than anything per se. And then my wife wanted to compete, and I just figured I'd take the back burner and let her focus on nationals, because she hasn't competed in over a year and a half. So I really wanted to put the emphasis on her, and I was going to train her every day. And then her physique started slowing down, and she started getting frustrated. She started talking about backing out of nationals, everything else. So and it was right around the time that I bought the house, and I was like, you know what? If you're going to fucking pussyfoot around, I'm going to do something because I'm bored. So that kind of all played into it. But next year, I knock on wood, I want to do the Arnold Australia. I want to do a couple of the other Arnolds, but now they've switched over to the Elite Pro division. So, I'll definitely hit the Cal because that's a local show.
Yeah.
Might do, depending on what weekend Toronto is now, because it was the same weekend as the Cal last year. I'll hit a couple of those shows in the spring for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you couldn't have both done the same show, they're the same day this year. Fergno and the Nationals the same exact weekend, so that would have been ridiculous.
Well, I was going to send her and her mom down to Miami, and then I was just going to do.
Now, the last I heard about your wife Stephanie, she was trying out to be a WWE diva.
Yeah, they recruited her to do WWE. So she went down to tryouts, and she actually kicked ass, and they liked her. But my wife gets motion sickness really bad.
Oh, boy.
And so the constant tumbling and flipping and everything like that they had to do during camp, she ended up getting vertigo and was completely fucked up for like 2 weeks. And, it was just one of the things. She didn't want to do it anyway. She had no desire to be a wrestler. She's more of a homebody. And she's 29 years old. So, like I said, if she was single and 23, 24 years old, that's one thing. But at 29 years old, when we're thinking about having a family soon, it's just not the time or place to really try to be gallivanting around the world.
Yeah.
Chasing this thing. And they don't treat you all the best. It's the first couple of years are pretty rough. You gotta pay your dues for sure. So anyway, I forced her to go because I'm one of those people. If opportunity's there, just try it out. You never know. You never know if you love it until you go do it. So I made her go down, and she did great. And they invited her back, and she just said, "Nope, not for me, not my thing." So I respect that. She's a woman that understands what she wants in life, and knows the values in life. Knows that being in a relationship and being married and having a family and creating something of our own is better than being a puppet for some major corporation.
Now, I'm surprised looking at you that you haven't been offered something in pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm too short, I guess.
Aren't you 6 foot?
No, I'm 5'9".
Oh, okay. I mean, well, Mysterio's like 5'1", but it seems like looking at you, most of the I haven't watched it in years, but every once in a while I'll look at it, and they all kind of look like you now. Pretty much.
I mean, yeah, they're not that muscular anymore. Obviously is.
Well, they're not. I didn't mean to say they were as large as you, but they have that look, that all-American, fresh-faced.
Yeah.
They're going more for like a soap opera star look than they were. Wrestlers were ugly bastards when I was a kid. big juiced up, ugly freaks.
Yeah, yeah. That was just fun.
Oh man! So I want to ask you about Venice because you got out there a little after the heyday, but it's still the Mecca. So what is it? You've been at that gym now since 2011.
Yeah.
So what's it like there now? Because I was a member there in the 90s, and I'm sure it's changed a bit. But I popped in, like I saw you that day when I was out there on vacation a couple years ago with my family, and it seems like it's still a pretty hardcore place.
It is. I mean, it's honestly one of the most unique gyms that you can ever go to. There's people from all walks of life. That's why I say, just go there and sit up on the bikes up top right when you walk in and just people watch, because you see some weirdos in there all the time. You still have the hardcore bodybuilders. You got Dexter training out of there. Hidetada was in and out. He's mostly in Vegas now. Oh God, you got Sergio Olivier who's out here training now. Frank McGrath's been here for a bit. So you still have your hardcore bodybuilding contingency. The biggest downside is the YouTubers and the Instagrammers and things like that. It's really infiltrated it. Gold's is more of a playground. I don't go near that place on a Saturday. From 8 a.m. until 2 p.m., you literally cannot move in that gym. You cannot find a weight to do anything.
Wow.
Clients want to train. I'm like, why? We're just going to waste our time. I'm not going to be able to find a piece of equipment to even train you on.
Wow.
So it's become a shit show, and especially during the summer with all the tourists coming in. I'm not gonna lie, I get burnt out and I get frustrated over the gym. You know how it is. No one takes care of equipment. No one puts anything away.
Yeah.
And me and my wife and a few other trainers we're really passionate about the gym. We care about what it looks like, and I spend half my time, whether I'm training myself or training my clients, picking up every little station I'm at. I reorganize weights, then I turn around and everything's thrown on the floor again, and it's just. It eats at your soul after a while, without a doubt. But again, you're not going to find the amount of equipment that's there, the history that's there. There was a morning, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting here watching Robbie, Tom Platz, and Arnold just shooting the shit.
Wow.
In the morning, it's like, all right, where the hell does that happen besides being at an expo or something like that? Not even.
No.
So it's like you do get that rich history still, and there still is that hard mentality. It's just got to do it at the right time. The best time to train there is 4 a.m. And Michael Hearn's in there at that time, but you can get to anything, any equipment you want. You can film. It's nice in there at that time. That's my favorite hour.
So is that when you train, 4 a.m.?
During the off season, yeah. During the off season, I don't handle food well. I get bloated really easily. So any bit of food in my stomach, and I feel like shit. And if you feel bloated and gassy, you can't train hard. And so during the off season, when I really, especially like on legs and back, I go in and I do some aminos and some fast digesting carbs, and I train in the mornings. During prep, obviously, if I have to do fasted cardio and post workout cardio, then that kind of changes things around. You kind of want some nutrients in your body in order to perform properly training during prep when you're already on a caloric deficit. So that changes a bit, but morning training is definitely my favorite.
So you do legs and back on an empty stomach?
Pretty much, yeah. I get about 60 grams of BCAAs and 50 grams of fast digesting carbs, and I sip on the same thing throughout the training too.
And oddly, those are probably your two best body parts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get envious of too many guys' legs, but your wheels. You're right. There's something else.
Thank Mama for those.
So when you first went out there, did you still? I read somewhere that you started training with Chris Cormier. He kind of took you under his wing and showed you a different. So how did your training change once you started working with Chris in the gym?
Like I said, when I got out there, I came from a football athlete background where it was just move as much weight as you can. There was no such thing as form or control or negative or anything like that. It was just move some weight around, and I could move some weight. And when I started training with Chris, he changed how I approached training. He truly helped me connect with each muscle. I'd sit there and do pull-ups with 100-pound dumbbells between my legs and get like 10 or 12. I wasn't fucking using my back at all. It was all arms. It was just momentum, everything. Yep. And so he taught me how to actually connect with each muscle and how to properly train. So I'm forever grateful for Chris for taking me under his wing for all those years. And
then do you still work with Charles Glass, or how long have you, or do you work with Charles?
So I trained with Chris for 2.5 years, then I trained with Charles for 2.5 years, and now I just do my own thing. I like my own schedule. Once in a while it's nice to hop in with someone and just say, all right, you lead the way. I don't have to think today. But for the most part, I've picked up enough stuff between training between those two and working with Chris Lewis, who's worked with Sean and Dexter this year. Chris is great to train with too. He's really intense. So his training's fun because he really pushes you. So I've learned enough over the years through those guys and implementing things myself. I know what works for me. I know what doesn't. So I enjoy training alone now.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta respect that. Absolutely. So it used to be the dream of everybody to go out west, especially us East Coast guys. Would you still recommend that for guys who really love the sport and want to be a little more surrounded by it? Is Venice still that?
I don't think the money's worth it. No. Honestly, if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably go to Vegas. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah. You still get a pretty good contingency of bodybuilders out there. You got some decent gyms to bounce around at. The problem with LA is you're confined to Golds, and that's it. Yeah. You got a couple of LA Fitnesses, and then it's all Equinox and hoity-toity bullshit gyms. And on top of that, if you got to travel 6 miles to go anywhere, you're looking at a fucking hour drive. So Golds is really kind of it as far as hardcore gyms out there if you don't want to travel a ton. I'm lucky I found this little gym down the street from the new house. It's about 20 minutes to get there, and it's actually pretty quick to get to my old house because we're still living here right now. Yeah. So I've been training there, but the gym's nice, but my workouts have been shit. I've been working all day doing manual labor, and for the first time in my life, I'm chasing a pump. So training isn't really all that fun, but it's saving me 45 minutes of commute. It's a nice clean gym, so I deal with it. But Golds is really the only place out here, and unless you have money and you can afford over $4,000 a month in rent and gas at $3.50 a gallon and everything else, then 9.5% sales tax.
Oh,
yeah. And I would say, Miami, Boca area, or Vegas, something like that, or Texas. You can live cheap as hell. Go down to Dallas, in that area, some good gyms. Live cheap. No, and not unless you're going to be, in the acting world and things like that. And that's the only thing that really keeps me around. When we were going to move, we were thinking San Diego, because at least if I go to San Diego, I'm a 2-hour drive from auditions if needed. Yeah. It's a little cheaper down there. I like the area a lot better, but Venice is it's outrageously priced.
It always was, honestly. It's anything where you're within a couple blocks of the beach. The prices are going to be sky high. I don't want to keep ragging on California. I lived there for 10 years, but when I was back there 2 years ago, I left in 2000. The traffic is easily twice as bad now as it was when I left in 2000. Easily twice as bad.
Just in the 6 years I've been here, traffic has gotten ridiculous in that short span of time. So it's almost unbearable.
And the weather's nice, right?
The weather's beautiful, 70 and sunny every day. When I first moved out here, my grandmother would call me once a week. Hi, honey, how's the weather, Mike? It's like the movie Groundhog Day. I wake up and it's the same exact thing. Little overcast till about 9 o'clock, then it clears out and you're 70 and sunny all day.
Okay. I'll make you feel good. It's 36 degrees outside my window right now. So you're doing good. You're doing well. So I can't believe you're renovating a house a week to go before your show, but here you are. You're a trooper, guy. You're a trooper. I got to respect that.
Mr. Get It Done. I'm the new Mr. Get It Done.
Because everyone else I talk to is like lying on a couch all day, napping in between their meals and their workouts. A lot of them are. Not everyone. Jose's a hustler. Jose's always working hard. All right, I shouldn't have said the guys are taking naps. There's not that many lazy guys, but it's still pretty amazing that you're going through all that with the new home and doing all the work on it like that yourself. Prepping for not just a local show. This is a major pro show.
Over 30 guys signed up for it already.
Yeah, wow. That's just for the open bodybuilding.
Yeah, Frigno's, they're doing a great job. They're going to be one of the elite shows within a year or two.
Cool.
It's all about the promoters. I have a good relationship with Chris Mines, who works with the Frigno family, and they care about athletes. They care about fans. You know, I saw what they did with the West Coast Classic and how they changed that, and how he helped Lonnie.
Yeah.
You know, the venue was amazing. You go there, they have bars where people can buy liquor. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
the fans, you know, so it's more of an entertaining thing for them instead of just being packed in this crowd and you know, instead of doing a guest poser, they did things like they had us do the ballet thing, they had Oksana perform. I think they've hired like Cirque du Soleil type acts in the past and things like that. So you truly get entertainment value out of your ticket,
Cool.
you know, instead of just going there, just watching people get hurted on and off stage. So I think that's where they're winning right now, and a lot of fans and a lot of athletes see that, and they're going to become some of the elite promoters.
Awesome. Yeah, this is not a knock against Pam Betts or the NPC Nationals. Great show, wonderful show, but I would rather be at the Fergno. I think it's just going to be a blast.
Yeah.
But they're on the same freaking day. Anyway, let's give out all your social media stuff. I only know the Instagram offhand. There's no spaces, all lowercase. Brad Rowe, right?
Brad B. Rowe.
Brad B. Rowe. I think I've been following an imitator. Oh, Brad B. Rowe. You're right. Brad B. Rowe. And what's your YouTube channel?
Brad Rowe 22, I think. I don't even know. More about that. I have YouTube videos up, plenty of them. We're putting content out consistently. I just don't remember my name. Okay. Yeah, so Twitter, Instagram, Brad B. Rowe. I think it's the B Rowe 22 is my my YouTube. And you know, me and my wife are putting out content continuously. She actually has this whole series that she just started, and the first episode got dropped last night, and it was absolutely hilarious. So hop over to her YouTube and watch it. It's me training her making fun of me, us bickering. You know, we're a real couple, and that's what we try to portray. That it's, you know, unlike these Instagram celebrities that just pretend like their relationships are perfect. No relationship's perfect. You know, we fight, we argue, and we put our shit out there. You know, so it's a fun watch.
Now, your wife is half Cuban?
Yep, half Cuban, half Guatemalan.
Okay, so they're very feisty, let me tell you.
Yes. You know. Yeah.
As I know all too well. So, okay. So everybody, make sure to check out Brad's social media. He's a great guy. Follow him every day. He's one of the few guys who actually puts content out there, it seems like on a pretty regular basis, where you can get a glimpse into his actual life, not just some fantasy that people want you to believe. So we'll also be following you next weekend at the Fergno Legacy. I'm wishing you the very best of luck with everything. So, cool. Thank you so much, Brad, for your time.
I appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
All right. For the Ronline Report, it's been Ron Harris with Brad Rowe.